Hello SGBers, I'm Companion Wolf aka Rob Wolf on Facebook. Welcome to another tutorial in the Smile Game Builder tutorial series. You know, it's hard to believe that this is actually the 15th tutorial in the entire series. So this got me thinking, there's enough material now to create a game, something more than just a series of linked nondescript tutorials. So in the previous tutorial, number 10, Event Triggers, I put it out there that we should have some ideas for names, locations and the kingdom in general. It was something that occurred to me while doing that tutorial, and so I opened the doors to suggestions so we can personalize things a bit more. And thanks to those who did comment, we have something more tangible to work with. Following Sana's suggestion, because I thought the name was very appropriate, when I decided the logo for Tutorial Land, somehow it just didn't look right, so I shortened it to Tutoria, and I guess that fits it just as perfectly. So, our kingdom is now appropriately and officially named Tutoria. And Tuss Infinity suggested some names as well, along with a plot idea which cemented the concept that a proper game should be created. I actually do plan my tutorials in advance and try to integrate some of the suggestions into them whenever possible or wherever appropriate. So, notably with Tuss Infinity's tutorial, this actually will tie in very well with another forest-based tutorial I'm planning for a later time, which for now is shrouded in secrecy, so you'll have to wait for it. So from tutorial 13 or 14, maybe 15, I'll start compiling everything into a kind of hybridized tutorial-based game. Eventually this will be available for download, to play and hopefully learn from. Anyway, let's get started. The product manager for Smileboom wondered about creating a basic system where if the player gives a present to a certain NPC, their likeability increases, kind of like a dating system. So we will have a basic relationship dating system by the end of this tutorial. It's a very simple system and it works. So for the dating system, we'll actually be traveling to the desert town. Again, I'm open to suggestions for names rather than just calling it Desert Town, which frankly is quite impersonal. As with the previous tutorials, I've already pre-created the events for convenience, so we can go through each one more quickly. I created 2 female characters to interact with because the player is male for the purposes of this tutorial. We have Elizabeth, who is kind of a tomboy, and Selena, who is a bookworm. And I've also created Arya, who is something of an oddball, but I'll reserve her for something related to this tutorial at a later date. So, in order for this to work, each NPC needs a separate variable for their relationship rating. In this case, Elizabeth is 20, Selena is number 21, and Arya will be number 22. I have to note here that my preference is for putting everything in one page, especially when it comes to multiple branches. Maybe that's something I just carried over from RPG Maker. Now before we begin the tutorial proper, I'd just like to give out a shout out to another really cool Facebook page. It's called Free Assets SGB, and he's created some absolutely stunning things. This particular windmill is animated. Something in that looks really cool. A train in progress. Here's a windmill which you can see animated. I think that I won't show you it all. You'll have to visit his YouTube video. But as you can see, that is a website, a Facebook page to watch out for. I'll put the link below in the description. Let's start with Elizabeth. We have several sheets for her options, 6 in total. And we have an event condition. The local switch is set to off. You don't really need to put this condition in, but I found it's a good policy to do this if you have the event's local switch turned on somewhere else. You add a variable. I'll be reusing random when the value is 1, which gives us 2 options, because remember that it always generates a random between 0 and your chosen value. And then we turn the local switch on. On sheet 2, we add the local switch as being on under the conditions, and we set if the random number is equal to 0. And then we present her with a little dialog box. Do you think I'm pretty? And then you have a choice. When yes is selected, she says, giggle, why thank you. And then you add 2 to her Elizabeth rating, which is what I mentioned before. And in this case, as you can see, Elizabeth's, Selena's, and Aria. This is used for the relationship. Then under no, she says, I might not be the most beautiful girl in the world, but I like me. She'll be angry, of course. And then we subtract 2 from her rating. At the very end of the branch, we reset the random variable by simply putting a value of 0 in it, and we turn the local switch off. If you don't reset the random number to 0, as seen on sheet 1, then it'll just add the random number to the existing number and will just continuously show sheet 3. So, talking of which, we add another dialog box with a normal emotion and the set text to, I like using daggers in battle. You can get up close and personal. Which weapon do you prefer? So now we will be presented with a choice of 4. Sword, bow, axe, and dagger. And under sword, the dialog box is, well, swords are just daggers with longer blades, so I guess it's okay. And she'll be happy with that, so she'll have 1 added to her rating. When the bow is selected, the text is, pah, bows are okay for long range, but they're no good if the enemy is right on top of you, are they? And of course she'll be angry. She really dislikes bows, so we'll subtract 2 from her rating. Under axe, she says, axes are good for chopping wood and limbs, but they're unwieldy and messy. And of course she's angry, but not as angry as the bows, so we subtract 1 from her rating. And the final one, when dagger is selected, her text is simply, really? Me too! And since she's well pleased, she's ecstatic in fact, that she has found somebody with a common interest, we add 2 to her variable box. And once again, at the end of the branch, we reset the random number and turn off the local switch. So we'll come back to the other sheets in a minute, and we'll focus on Selena. who, since she's a bookworm, her focus is obviously on books. So we do the same thing for her as we did for Elizabeth, but we'll only have one option first. Choose switch on with the condition set to off on the first sheet, and then the events. Here's a warning in advance. I'm a sucker for William Shakespeare. What can I say? So I'll use a few quotes from him here. And for those who don't appreciate Shakespeare, I apologize. So in the first one she says, "To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not be false to any man. Do you like Shakespeare too?" So you will have a choice, yes or no. Under yes, the player responds with another Shakespearean quote. By the way, if for those who don't know, the starting quote is something that Polonius said in Shakespeare's play Hamlet. And then the player responds with, "Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglecting," which is from Henry V, spoken by Dauphin. So she responds in her joy, how much better it is to weep at joy than to joy at weeping." I forget who said this, but it's from Much Ado About Nothing. And then we increase her rating to 2, by 2. So under no quotes. Oh, that's too bad. And obviously she'll be sad, so we reduce her rating by 2. And as before, right at the very end, we reset the random number and turn the local switch off. And of course you can expand this in the same way we did Elizabeth, with additional details like random quotes, but we'll keep her as it is for this tutorial. Now of course we need to keep track of how well you're doing in pressing the socks of these two girls. So for now we'll use the relationship status sign next to the first set of steps, where we'll simply put this relationship status, Elizabeth and Selena, and the variable part relates to the variables corresponding to their relationship ratings. These values can be negative, by the way. The next step is to further the relationship with either of these girls. Now with this, I've borrowed an idea from Skyrim. Once you're ready for commitment or marriage or whatever, you wear a rainbow amulet when you talk to them, and they'll accept or reject your request based on their relationship ratings. For those who don't know, in Skyrim, when you want to marry someone, you either one of your followers or an NPC, you'd obtain an amulet of Mara, the goddess of love, and then speak to your intended bride with it equipped. You'll then have the option to marry them and have them move into your house and live with you and live happily ever after, etc., etc. So we need to go to the temple for this. Where else? And speak to the priest, whom I created with a stationery, and then receive item. But it's been tweaked a bit. So I basically added, "Welcome to the temple, what can I do for you?" And then you're given 2 choices. Healing obviously heals the party, and you'll give him a full heal, but marriage. Under the marriage, marriage, a sacred union between 2 people. Wear this amulet when you talk to your intended bride to indicate you're ready for commitment. And so the priest gives you the item, the Rainbow Island. This is basically the original from the get item. Got around. May the gods bring you light and happiness to you both. So with that, we can return to the desert town and revisit both Elizabeth and Selena. So here's where the other event sheets come in. Under the conditions, we add a rainbow if the rainbow amulet is in possession, including if it's worn in the equipment, is lower than or equal to 99. This second condition is to prevent marriage if you've already committed to Selena. You'd add more variables with the same ratings for the other marriageable NPCs. We'll create a variable box for number 20, and in this case, if Elizabeth's rating is greater than or equal to 7, then she'll say, "Oh, you have a rainbow amulet." I can't even talk. "Oh, you have a rainbow amulet. Does that mean, I think you're cute, so wanna get married?" And then under the conditions for yes and no, if you add yes, change your graphic to jump, because obviously she'll be very happy, and the text is awesome. Then you change your graphic back to normal, and then just basically put 100 into Elizabeth's rating. This means you are officially wed to her. Under no, she'll say, "Don't tease me like that." Oh, and her emotion should be angry, not happy. So we subtract 5 from her rating, meaning that if you don't marry Selena after all, then you'll just have to go back and convince her to marry you again. And then on sheet 5, again, if the rainbow amulet is worn, and then Selena's rating is 100, meaning that you've already spoken to and married Selena instead, she'll just simply say, "You're married, congratulations." I don't know if she should be sad or normal. Well, I'll keep her at that for now. Event sheet 6. If her rating is 100, you've decided to marry her, she'll just simply say, "Hi, honey." And then that is when you become hitched. So for Selena, it would be the same thing, but obviously we'd change a few details. On sheet 3, this time she's a little harder to please than Elizabeth, so we just upped her rating to 12. So if you possess a rainbow amulet and Elizabeth's rating is less than or equal to 99, then you are in for a chance here. And again, here are some some Shakespeare alerts. "Is that a rainbow amulet? I am your wife if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid." Miranda said this in The Tempest. And then again, you have the choice of whether to accept or decline. So under yes, her next dialogue is from Taming of the Shrew. "I have thrust myself into this maze, happily to wive and thrive as best I may." And then we will set her rating to 100 to prevent bigamy or polygamy or anything like that. If no is selected, I am one who loved not wisely, but too well, by Othello. And then we subtract 12 from a rating. Actually, we should subtract probably double that, 10, because she'll be really pissed. Oh yeah, something else I forgot, and this same one applies to Elizabeth, is if at the very beginning, if Selena's rating is not 12 or above, then under that branch we need to switch the local switch off, so that this entire event can re-trigger again and again. Sheet 4 is the same as Elizabeth's, except the variable box is changed obviously to 20 for Elizabeth. So if you've married Elizabeth, she'll say, "If men could be contented to be what they are, there were no fear in marriage." I think this one is from All's Well That Ends Well. And sheet 5, if you married her rating, variable number 21, is set to 100 in the conditions, and so when you speak to her as your wife, "Hello, O husband mine." That's it for the basic system. This system is not entirely without its bugs, admittedly, but it's a fully functional dating marriage system that can be easily adapted for all kinds of things. So, relationship status, we haven't even started yet. I don't even know why she does that. Just disappears off the face of the earth. Yep, and she's gone. Maybe she didn't want to talk to us after all. So we'll just move her and try doing the playtest again. I like using daggers in battle. You can get up close and personal. Which weapon do you prefer? So we'll use the bow. Pah! Bows are okay for long range, but they're no good if the enemy is right on top of you, are they? And of course she will dislike you. So relationship status is -2. Let's come back to her. And then speak to Selena himself. She will do the quotey thingy. Yay! So we'll just continue talking to her. What was it, 12? Oh, come on. Oi! Couple more times, I think. I don't even know what her it's only 6. Gee. Alright, here. That should be about 10. So once more and she'll be ready. Hey. Right. Now we'll go attempt to speak to the mysteriously disappearing Elizabeth. And of course this is all random, so if you have more random numbers you'll have much more of a choice to choose from rather than these things. Yeah, I think that should be it for now. No, once more. And that should do it. So we can go to the temple. And then speak to the priest. Marriage. Back to the desert town. Now I believe there is actually something here. Let me just check. Yeah. If it says, like, the idea in Skyrim is you have to have the amulet equipped in order for it to work. But in this there's no facility to check whether or not you're actually equipping an item. It just says if it's held, and it doesn't matter if it's in the inventory or in the on your person. It'll just basically, if you have the amulet, then this feature will work. So now we can't speak to her again because you upset her. So I guess and there you go. Officially married Selena. Her rating is 100, and Elizabeth, she's still pissed, so I don't know if she's going to talk to you. Yes, she is. You're married, congratulations. And then we finally go speak to our bookworm wife. And then that's it, it changes the dialogue. That concludes it for another tutorial. If you found this one useful, give it a like and subscribe for more videos. Visit Twitter and Facebook and the blog. That's it for now, until the next time.